Starting off her agency after a short stint at an ad agency during a break from her university studies, she has since seen her fledgling business gain great prestige as one of the country's Sri Lanka-only advertising agencies. Deciding to take on the world of advertising after completing a law degree, she is now known as the co-chair of the award-winning, inspiring and sought-after powerhouse that is Triad. ETV Power Women proudly presents Varuni Amunugama Fernando. Hi, and welcome to ETV Power Women. Now, you've heard the introduction to our next guest, who actually probably needs no introduction at all. You've probably bought something that she's marketed or heard a saying that they've come up with. So let me introduce Varuni Amunugama Fernando to the show. Hi, Varuni.
Hi, Minoli.
How are you doing?
Good, and thank you and ETV for inviting me to Power Women.
Thanks for coming on. I hope you're going to enjoy it. I want to start off, Varuni, kind of sort of mired in legend and rumor. Is it true that Triad sort of started off as like a little hobby for you, or like a pet project, something that you kind of did to earn some extra pocket money type of thing?
That's a quaint way of putting it. Basically, I think a lot of people refer to that, or we've mentioned it in our book, which we did to celebrate 15 years.
Yeah.
Really, the beginnings, or how we began, was in a very, very small way.
Right.
Really, it was more than a hobby, of course, because there were three of us.
Yeah.
The only thing is, we never really planned how it was going to turn out.
Okay.
So in that sense, when we started Triad, it was something we all wanted to do out of interest.
Yeah.
And we thought we could do something which, while we enjoyed doing it, we thought we could do something which would have some lasting value or contribution to the society. So in that sense, yes, we started with zero investment, zero big plans. So in that sense, you can call it a hobby. In a nutshell, it was very, very small.
Because it's sort of, it's taken on over the last 15 years, this entirely, life of its own, this sort of massive, it's become from something like you said, that you started off very small. It's now this huge agency, and it's interesting because it's, the only really Sri Lankan agency, which must be, an incredible source of pride for you.
Oh yes, Minoli, and the thing is, I think it is just really the team.
Yeah.
And honestly, even if I'm here today, and you've invited me to be a power woman, but actually I'm really the voice of a team of people.
Okay.
So if I have any right to be speaking to the audience today, it would be simply because I'm part of a team.
Okay.
And over 15 years, what began as just 3 people has grown to be 92 in advertising alone. But as a group, we have about 600 people on this team. So in terms of, even to us sometimes,
when you kind of
up,
sit down and you think,
did it really happen, or were we a part of it? I think we also evolved. Because now if you take, I spoke about 3 people who started together. That was my partner, who's still my partner, Dilith Jayavira, and Ishini Vikramasinghe. Of course, when we really registered the company in 1993, she moved out because it was a conflict of interest.
Right.
So ever since that time, we've kind of, Dilith and I also have grown with this industry, because I worked at Phoenix.
That's right.
At a very junior level as a account executive.
And that's where you got sort of bit by the advertising bug?
Kind of, and also learned the ropes, because there were people like Uma, who told me where to go, what to do, Mr. Virakodi, all that. Dilith wasn't in advertising, but of course a very hands-on creative person in whatever he did, especially at the university. So we really didn't, when we came into this industry, this is one industry which has always been dominated by multinational agencies.
Yes, that's right.
Rather than homegrown agencies. So really, when we started it off, it was strategic for us to position ourselves as a Sri Lankan agency. And in effect, we kind of felt that our strong point was that we spoke Sinhalese very well, we understood our culture very well, and we were all products of this society.
Yeah.
And we knew how to speak to our customers.
Yeah.
So strategically we gave it that aura that we are a very Sri Lankan rooted agency.
Yeah.
And the people who joined us, or our own indigenous tools that we developed, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And our focus really, Minoli, we really wanted to do whatever we could to build local brands.
Like you were saying, just building on local brands, and you've had such success with, you know, lots of campaigns, especially the Api Venuang Api. I mean, would you just tell us a little bit about the creative process that actually, you know, how that whole thing came about? I mean,
yes, actually, Api Venuang Api Minoli is more than just a communication campaign. Really, it's funny because when our client was the Sri Lanka Army, they briefed us, and this was just when the military approach to end this war was beginning, and they felt that there should be a recruitment drive. So being a local agency, and when we said that we understand how the Sri Lankan people think, they invited us and they said, okay, do a recruitment campaign. But what we told them was there was no point in doing a recruitment campaign. What the forces needed was a perception change. So they said, okay, you recommend whatever. So before we start a campaign, we do ground level research.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, we believe us in our air-conditioned rooms,
may not,
I mean in little corners somewhere, won't understand really how the common man thinks. So we went out onto the road, we spoke to people, and we came up with an insight. And the insight was that every Sri Lankan has somebody connected to the forces. It could be a relation, it could be a child, a neighbor, but we had an affinity. So in effect, it wasn't as though the hero, the soldier, was fighting and we were just bystanders.
Away from the whole
It was us fighting this war, which was crucial to this country.
Yes, absolutely.
So we built on that insight and said, no more is the soldier an alienated person. He's one of us. So that is how this Api Venuang Api campaign
and it was just captured so beautifully. Because I remember seeing, you know, the ads when they came out, and I was thinking, wow.
A very important aspect as to why that campaign succeeded, other than for the strategy, was the fact that everybody bought into this. Now, the media, I must make a special mention, over 1 billion worth of media airtime, space and all that was contributed free.
Which is amazing.
Amazing, by all the media houses. Even outdoor companies came and said, you know, we'll give free space, you do this. There were businesses who came and said, let us support you with all these things. The whole country, you know,
which
came
is what
together.
you want, right? You brought...
So and because of that media cloud, it was very present. So everybody got exposed to it.
So I remember seeing it everywhere.
We would love to think it's the creativity alone. It's just only one component, you know, all these things came together.
Honestly, it had such a huge impact. I mean, I think that the hairs on my arms are standing up thinking about it, actually.
Same happens to us.
You get a real sort of wonderful... Well, we're going to take a little break, and it's a lovely point to stop at, actually. Don't go anywhere, all of you at home, because we're going to be right back. It's a very short commercial break, and tune in for more with Varuni. Hi, and welcome back to ETV Power Women. We've just had this really interesting discussion actually with Varuni about the iconic campaign Api Venuang Api, and it kind of ties into a lot of what your agency was built on as well. You have this whole sort of ethos of, you know, walking with the masses, talking with the masses, and that really fits in well with this. I mean, was that one of the core principles your agency was founded on?
Actually, Triad Success is about its people. And funnily enough, most of the people are not from the advertising industry. So they've all come into this one family, so to speak, bringing in their experiences, exposures and all that, which I honestly believe has enriched the team. So today, if you take most of the people now in any agency, they say the core is the creative team. Ours is different. What we say is everybody is creative. So it could be the guy who's making the cup of tea.
Has, you know, this brilliant idea. A word or something that just, you know.
So it's fine. And really, Minoli, ideas are born through discussion.
Yeah, absolutely.
Somebody will spark off a little thought, somebody else will develop it, then some completely inane contribution
will come out of nowhere.
Yeah, and then you suddenly think, wow, that's an idea.
Yeah.
Because we don't sell a commodity.
Yes.
We sell ideas.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that itself makes it a very profitable business because you can't put a value on an
Yeah.
idea. Today, a lot of people feel just because they have access to computers or they have mastered computer graphics that you can do communication.
Yeah.
But in effect, you can't. It's about real life experiences translated creatively. So that comes through experience and exposure and of course skill.
Yeah.
Now at Triad, we have tried to adopt a certain policy, which is, if you know, now the Sri Lankan society is built on the family concept.
Yes.
That's what makes us very strong. And even if you compare with the West, what is very strong and solid is our foundation, which is this family bonding. Now we've brought that into Triad. We have told them, look, you are working to have a good life with your family. So work here during regular office hours, work well, but after hours go home and spend quality time with your family. Which is very different to the normal advertising setup.
No, I was about to say, it's generally like
and come in at 6 o'clock, hang out here, eat, drink, party, all that happens. But
you've got that
priority is
value.
different. So I think that has also helped for people to trust each other, and a lot of people who come from other agencies say that what they find unique about Triad is the ethos, where it's very transparent. Now Dilith and my doors are open for anybody to come and discuss, and we are very much hands-on with the operation.
I mean, I know that's not just a statement, because I've actually been to your office and your doors are open. You know, you're right. It's this very kind of
that. And a second thing is, we believe that in this advertising is an evolving industry. So everybody has their time and place and limits of contribution. Now both Dilith and I'm 41, he's 42.
You're 41?
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Look it.
Thank you. So we've been in the industry now for the last 15 years. So we feel that there may be another 10 years where we can contribute at our peak. But we have to be responsible to kind of groom somebody, you know, rather than hang on to this, be rooted. But when we move on, the agency will die. So we've kind of foreseen that. We've already encouraged, we've earmarked and headhunted. We found a young COO. We brought him in so that we can groom him, who's 10 years younger, who's from the new age, but very, very cultured, rooted, and very, very sensitive to this family concept. Because we believe that then even our people, the team members, will see the longevity of the whole program, and they will get confidence from it. So long term, just like a family, we would expect their children to be a part of it, and this agency to evolve into something more than just a communications company. This itself should become a Sri Lankan brand.
But I'm going to have to stop you there, Varuni, because we've got to go in for another, as you said, feeds us commercial break. But we're going to come back to that, actually, because I really want to talk to you about that. So don't go anywhere. We're going to be right back with more from Varuni. Hi, you're watching ETV Power Women. We're here with Varuni. And for those of you who've just tuned in, she's the joint head of Triad Advertising, a company that she started with her partner Dilith 15 years ago. And Varuni, you were just explaining to me, because earlier on you'd said that you have 600 employees who work for the company, and I couldn't quite figure out, you know, where they all slotted into. So
actually, 92 at Triad itself, but 600 when you take all these subsidiaries together.
Companies,
The thing is, they are managed completely independently.
Right, so they are their own businesses. That just feed
their own
into
businesses. It's just that we are the investors. The only common factor is the culture. So each of these, each of these, the heads of those companies, most of them have been our university colleagues or people who are very well known to us, very similar background, very similar way of thinking. So that same culture has kind of gone into all these subsidiaries as well, but which function completely independently. So that's how these 600 people
because I was
come into
thinking,
play.
wow, that's a huge amount of people actually, and it must be a really rewarding thing, waking up every day knowing that, you know, you're helping 600 people kind of get a better foothold in life.
Almost unreal, you know, to think that on the one hand you are so happy to be a part of it, on the other hand you like the anonymity as well, you know, you would probably think, I mean, what's the connection with 600 people? I still remember we had this Aurudu Utsava, one company had organized it and everybody got together, and it was really funny because none of them even knew that we were, you know, the joint managing directors of this company, because we were participating in their activity, and all these things. And so for all of them, this, especially what we've tried to inculcate, Minoli, is that you don't need hierarchy. We believe in hands-on work as team members. Dilit and me included. No hierarchy is needed, because that way we feel that you enjoy what you do and you respect everybody who's involved in it, because we are all the same.
And it really brings together that your whole concept of family and unity. You feel like you can say whatever you need to say or ask, you know, without this kind of
exactly, because that kind of management style
is on its way out.
Now.
It needs to be out already, but it's
so and especially in our industry,
which
doesn't work at all.
And I mean, especially in your industry, like you said, it's all about finding new methods and new trends and new ways of doing
new
things.
ideas, and if people feel that they are oppressed or they are,
they don't have a voice.
Exactly. So it's just not going to help at all.
But it's a, you know, it must be a wonderful kind of thing knowing that you've brought all of this together. But I mean, totally something completely now away from Triad, because, you know, every time you talk about your husband, you kind of get this little glint in your eye. And so tell us a little bit about him. Tell us how you met. Were you at university as well together?
Actually not. Of course, when I entered university, I was going out with him. No, we met through friends. And as far back as 1987.
Wow,
when I was just doing my A-levels. And he was one of my friends, uncle's friends. And what I really liked about him, which to this day exists, is again this family concept.
Wow.
You know, it's weird. It's like wherever, you know, all roads lead to Rome kind of thing. Somehow, because he comes from a very Catholic, bonded family, from Venapur, all brothers. In my family, there is a sister. I have only a sister. And I always wanted a brother. And somehow, his whole approach to family life, his closeness to his parents, the regard and the respect and the trouble he will take, you know, to look after them, do things for them. I got a feeling of security and then my admiration for him, you know, to think that, okay, this is a guy who values the same things that I do. And even in terms of work, Minoli, he's into tea, so a completely different trade. But he's been very broad-minded, and I'm happy because whatever achievements that I've had, he's definitely been proud of that. And he's never tried to stop me and say, you know, don't do this or don't do that. Only time we have a snag and a problem is, if I say I'm coming in 5 minutes, I mean half an hour or just round the corner. But if it is 5 minutes,
it's 5 minutes.
In his case, it's 4.5. But he would probably turn up 3 hours later, right? So that is the only time that there would be some kind
friction.
of friction in the sense that he would probably get into a mood. But women being who they are know how to put them in moods and get them out of it as well. But I'm happy to say now we've been together then almost 22 years.
That's lovely.
And it's been a partnership. Where even to this day, and I am a person, I do not believe in women's lib. Because I think women have an inner strength. And that womanliness is that strength. So by being a woman, I think we get power. So my my role in our relationship, if you take, I would most often play a supportive role. And I would gladly give Rohan the decision-making role. And which works out fine, because I think even he likes it that way. And a recent discussion between him and my father was, you know, for so many years we've been thinking that she's been doing what we want. But looking back, it's as
we've been doing
we've been doing what she wants. So I think
it's just how you play it, how you work.
How you work it.
Yeah.
And I think in our society especially, it is a nice way of making things work.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, the bigger picture is what counts.
Yeah.
Do you want the marriage and the relationship to work?
Or do you want
do you want to say that, hey, I'm a woman and I decide,
Yeah.
and just create some unnecessary issues. I am a person who don't think that I want to, experience life on my own.
Yeah.
So definitely I'm one for marriage, family and togetherness and all that. So in that respect, I think definitely I found the correct partner.
Okay, well that's lovely to hear, and after 22 years of marriage, that's even nicer to hear. And so Varuni, tell us a little bit about, how do you sort of, apart from spending time with your husband and with your family, what do you do to relax and kind of, because even though, you say that the working, you obviously love your job, it's very evident. But with that, and the territory that you're in, there must be a certain amount of stress. I mean, how did you kind of just like take a breather and just relax? What do you do to kind of... where are we going to find you relaxing?
At home.
At home?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm a person who would like to just be
at
home,
Phones off.
Yeah, just relaxing. And I like to read crime fiction mostly.
Okay.
With Patricia Cornwell.
Oh,
my
okay.
favorite
It's a
author.
little bit gory, some of her stuff.
It is. And my father who saw me reading, because the library, my section is all full of crime fiction. Jeffrey Deaver or Tammy Hogue, or everything is about the same subject. He's like, look, there's something wrong with you. Get your nut examined, So I don't know, probably, but I like the, finding of these clues and, that kind of thing.
The whole
really,
detection.
Yeah, it really interests me. I like movies, especially Sinhala movies.
Okay.
Not so much of a movie buff. I mean, if there's a choice, I'd rather read a book.
Okay.
Because that the imagery that comes to your mind
you
and
use your own
everything here,
imagination
rather
for
than
that.
seeing it happening on TV. And other than for that, I'm actually a fanatic about exercise.
Wow.
So is my husband, so it helps.
Yeah.
4 times a week, we make it a point to exercise. We do, working out and normal physical exercises on 2 days. And the other 2 days, I do karate.
Okay, yeah.
Which is, totally unusual for somebody of my age. But I think that's what makes me think, okay, gives me really confidence and all that. And I haven't taken part in any of the tournaments, but I'm training at the moment.
Oh my goodness, wow.
Yeah,
so we could see you like on TV kind of doing your thing.
Not really, I'm sure you're
Is that
visualizing.
like a really bad karate move that I just did?
I know you're visualizing Bruce Lee, but
Yeah,
not. See, in karate there are 2 aspects. One
Okay.
is kumite, that is a fight.
Right.
The other one is kata.
Okay.
Kata is where you do the fighting movements,
But
it's the style.
Okay.
So I've opted for the kata part
so
as
there's no
at now.
physical contact
No
kind
physical
of.
contact, but you've got to get the style right.
Right. Okay.
So we are training at the moment.
Wow.
And now the blue belt came from, there are 5 other belts. Blue belt is the 5th one.
Okay.
And to do that, you get graded.
Right, so you have to...
Yeah, do these katas and they grade you on the katas
Okay.
and see whether you're worthy of that
going to the
belt.
next... Because I always thought blue was right underneath black, but
No,
obviously...
long way. Long way more to go before they're going to part with the black belt.
Okay.
So that is the aspiration. Really mentally, makes me feel good.
Yeah.
After a session, you think, okay, you did it. You
I
get
can do
this inner confidence.
It's empowerment.
Yes. I
Wonderful.
really don't know what will happen in real life.
But-
if somebody confronts me, I'll probably
Well,
run.
let's hope you never have to find out. And on that note, we're going to go in for another break. But when we come back, we've got what we like to call the confession cam.
Okay.
So we've chatted to some of your friends and
Okay.
colleagues, and you're going to hear their thoughts
Great.
on you. So don't go anywhere, because we're going to be right back with more from Varuni.